come home to set us free. Living straight from the stars to our soul. It's worth more than all the gold. Living straight, living straight.
Welcome back to Native Strength. I'm your host, Hyapatia. Who you are today is a direct result of everything that has happened to you since you were born. The image makers have molded and sculpted you in addition to all of the events in your life into what you are right now. So, who were you before you were impacted by all of these events and your image makers? Who were you before you were told how you should be and what you should not like? That core personality is something that many of us spend our entire life trying to discover. The Mayans had a wonderful teaching all about this, how to shatter the mirror of self-reflection. What I mean by that is that when we look in the mirror, we see who we think we are. And what's reflected back at us is everything our image makers wanted us to be, unless we are rebellious. And then it's the opposite of that. One way or another, it's a direct result of what our image makers and the events of our life have caused us to become. So who were we before all of this transpired? How do we shatter that mirror and find out what's behind that glass and who we were before everyone had their chance to mold us and sculpt us into the person they wanted us to be? There are 5 steps. The mirror of self-reflection shows us the projection of ourself that we've been molded and sculpted into to be acceptable. It's said that we wear a mask of self-pity because we believe we're unworthy of love in our original form. Shattering this mirror will show how to remove this mask and discover our true nature. This is how we begin the warrior's walk. The first step is letting go of the need for others to approve of us and what we do. Obviously, I'm not talking about things that are harmful or dangerous. This is about not being afraid to share who you really are and what you really like, not going along with things just because everyone else does. We have to move off of the circle of foxes and dance with the coyotes. I have episodes about both of these wheels. The second step is to make death an ally. Death is just the natural progression of life. So when I say that we make death an ally, I mean that we aren't afraid to let go and move on to something better. The third step is to stop the world. By that I mean that we're fully in the here and now. Sometimes we aren't even aware of how much our mind is living in the past or the future. To walk as a warrior, we need all of our energy focused on the present. The fourth step to breaking the mold and finding your true self is waking up or controlling the dream. Our life is a dream that we planned on the other side before we were born. We're fully awake when we're on the other side, but we can also be awake in our life dream. When we have full communication with our inner personas, we gain amazing powers. We can manifest the life we choose. This is being awake in the dream, controlling our life, or our dream. When we communicate with our inner personas, we begin to see how we've armored ourselves from the pain of being sculpted into something we aren't. We discover that by protecting ourselves from the pain of being judged by others, we've also denied our core personality. This is where we begin to attack the mirror of our false reflection to reveal our true self. In the fifth and final movement, we break the mold of who our image makers wanted us to be and step free into our own life. We realize who we really are. This is assuming self-authority, and it makes us feel like a weight has been lifted. We'll walk tall because we aren't bogged down with caring about what everyone thinks about us anymore. We've moved from the circle of foxes to the dance of the coyotes. We know we're being true to ourselves, and this brings us inner peace. It puts us in direct communication with our great teacher, our higher self, and our Creator. To know we are okay without the approval of others means we are worthy of love in our original form, and we've learned to love ourselves. The internet is the perfect place to practice not being at the effect of others, because for the most part, these are people we don't really know in person, so it doesn't matter if they like us or not. The mirror of self-reflection shows us how others see us. It shows us the projection of ourself that we've been molded and sculpted into to be acceptable. This makes us wear a mask of self-pity because we believe we're unacceptable of love in our true form. Shattering this mirror will show us our true form and how to begin the warrior's walk. As a warrior, we are trying to develop all approaches to life equally and to use each at will, consciously, and with complete control. This also means we can wear these approaches as a mask in controlled folly. You may remember controlled folly is used with toxic people. I discuss this more fully in my Bullies episodes. Developing all four approaches makes us unpredictable. It's very important not to be predictable. We are easily manipulated by others when we're predictable, and that puts us at the mercy of toxic people. If someone knows that you will always react with anger in a certain situation, they can use that against you. For example, if they want you to be angry at someone who has wronged them, they may withhold the truth and choose the one subject they know will invoke your rage. In this way, they've turned you against their enemy. Because that particular subject always makes you angry, you may not investigate the facts to discover the truth. Now, this can work with sympathy as well. Those who wish to manipulate us rarely stick to the truth. They use every arrow in their quiver to get their way. If our reactions are predictable, they will know which arrow to choose, and they will aim it straight at our heart. Politicians do this on a regular basis. If one is speaking to a group of gun supporters, he will say that his opponent wants to take away our rights to keep and bear arms. If they're speaking to an audience of liberals, they say the opposition wants to destroy the environment. Few listeners will investigate the voting records. Most will simply believe what they've heard and even repeat it to others. So, how do we avoid being so easily manipulated? we become versatile in our attitudes and approaches. There are 4 basic attitudes and approaches: kindness, slyness, ruthlessness, and patience. Most people have become comfortable using only 2 of these. One approach anchors our mask of self-pity and the feeling that we are unworthy of love in our original form. The other approach is used to project the personality that we want others to see, and this is how we have learned to survive and fit in. Since we don't want others to know who we think we are at the core, we project one of the 4 chosen attitudes: kindness, slyness, ruthlessness, or patience. We use these to make others believe we are something that we are not. These approaches are like a blade of grass. We're grounded in the soil, and our roots represent the personality into which we have been molded. The length of our blade of grass determines how far and how versatile we may be. The top of the blade is our mask of self-pity and the mirror of self-reflection. That's the part that we show to the rest of the world. This is how we approach life. When we unconsciously use these approaches through the mask of self-pity, we lose energy. This reinforces our molded and sculpted mirror of self-reflection. For the warrior's walk, we need to develop all approaches equally so we can use them at will. Now, the first 2 approaches we should develop are the ones that we already have by nature, and then we work on the other ones that we're not accustomed to using. This will not change our core personality, but it will help us to stop losing energy, particularly when we're dealing with toxic people. We'll begin with kindness because it sits in the south. Proper use of kindness will heal the needy, wounded child. Kindness can be used to cultivate charisma and forge a deep communication with others. The dark mirror is to have kindness with foolishness, which puts you at the effect of others. Foolishness is defined as deliberately sacrificing and giving away your power by putting yourself in situations that are not productive and totally unnecessary. They're a waste of your energy, and they take you off your path to your sacred dream. Anyone that continually throws us off our path or distracts us from it is toxic, in a way. It's admirable to stop and help others from time to time. When we do this with our loved ones, it's fulfilling because we love them. It's when we feel anger or frustration over these distractions, and yet we still react with unconditional kindness, that we're sacrificing ourselves. It's at this point that kindness is using the dark mirror. The light mirror of kindness is compassion without any self-pity. It's unconditional love. It's the ability to do what needs to be done and to shift our assemblage point into a heightened state of awareness. Now, I've spoken about assemblage point shifting in many different episodes. There are many ways to do this. My favorite is the warrior presents fire. This influences others and automatically shifts their assemblage point as well. I've spoken about how the brain waves have been scientifically proven to be influenced by those who are physically near us. This is a similar effect. It creates an empathetic bonding. Others will feel drawn emotionally to a person who expresses empathy and kindness, and this gives us the ability to say the right words at the right time. On the other side of the medicine wheel is slyness, or the ability to be cunning. Slyness sits in the north and is associated with our mental abilities. The light mirror of slyness gives us unlimited viewing points. It allows us to use the most appropriate frame of reference to accurately perceive reality in any given situation. This heightened awareness allows us to understand how others operate within their point of view. We've learned to let go of all judgments and opinions. We're looking at just the facts. When we understand another point of view, we can communicate more effectively. When we can put ourselves in another person's shoes, we can speak to their goals and interests. It's by addressing the concerns of another that we can show them that their needs will be met. And this allows us to get our needs met at the same time. Cruelty puts one in the dark mirror of slyness. This is usually the result of having a rigid point of view. This happens when people believe there's only one way that things should be done. They hold many opinions and judgments about why this is the correct way to do things, and that means that there will be harsh judgments about those who think differently. This will lead to treating them cruelly. To get out of such a rut requires developing flexibility in our point of view. One way to do this is to approach all truth as lies. This is the contrary or Hyapatia behavior we've spoken about before. Questioning truth is a great way to break automatic thinking patterns. It gives you permission to examine unusual approaches and behaviors. The key to a successful warrior's walk is to have mental flexibility. The ability to have a thought and then instantaneously let it go without allowing it to stir up emotion is another attribute of the warrior in this direction. This took me many years to personally develop, and it can't be done without good communication with the inner elders. We often have memories that bring inner turmoil and can do us no good. Once we've decided we've examined all the events surrounding this memory and learned all of the lessons associated with it, we need to let it go entirely. This is obviously not an easy thing to do. This is not repressing emotions, as we've done the work to examine the event in question. Continually processing an event in our mind when we've already done this work can only serve to strengthen the needy, wounded child. This needy, wounded child is an energy vampire. If we don't control it, it will distract us from our important work and pleasure. It will suck the energy right out of us. Instead, we can give that child the perfect parents by turning to our inner elders. After the inner elders comfort the needy, wounded child, we must take control and move our focus to more constructive things. The warrior's walk means we don't need to believe in anyone or anything outside of ourselves. We know that the inner elders are within us and that the Creator is always with us, connected to us through the inner elders. Because of this, we have the ability to think clearly, even when confronted with highly emotional situations. And this enables us to choose a wise course of action and to have the best timing possible so we can increase our odds of success. This also gives us an almost photographic memory. Our memories are often tainted by our emotions. Emotions are caused by hormones. These same hormones can make it difficult to concentrate and remember details. When we control our emotions, we lower these hormones and their detrimental side effects. We can remember things much better. This allows us to analyze events as they take place. We become adept at using the teaching medicine wheels and overlapping them to gain a deeper understanding of events and the people involved. In the West on the wheel of approaches is ruthlessness. The light mirror of ruthlessness is impeccable survivability, regardless of the environment. This is what allowed the survivors of the plane crash in the Andes Mountains to live. They had to become ruthless and turn to the cannibalization of their dead colleagues. Otherwise, they too would have died. This includes a common sense understanding of the reality of your situation. This understanding should not give us reasons to quit, but rather shed light on new perspectives on how we can be successful. The warrior's walk means we know we need to be willing to fail as many times as is necessary. We learn from our mistakes, and we continue to work toward our goal. The dark mirror of ruthlessness is greed and harshness. It includes the intentional manipulation of others for our own personal gain. Surviving and being successful becomes a game where one selfishly gains at the expense of others. When we use the dark mirror of ruthlessness, we become obsessed with winning and having our way. Most of us are quite familiar with this dark mirror. In fact, when I first found out that ruthlessness had a light mirror, I was shocked. But when we fight for our children or for our own health or well-being, when we protect our loved ones or our elders, ruthlessness does have a place. This was the easiest way for me to understand the light mirror of ruthlessness. Ruthlessness with one's self is the total elimination of the need to fit in. This frees us to follow the intent of the Great Spirit in all aspects of our life. We don't have to deny our true self to be worthy of love. We can make it on our own, if necessary. This ruthlessness with ourself includes the ability to push ourselves physically. We can endure great pain and suffering knowing it's only our body that's being tested, and we can shift our assemblage point in order to achieve a higher state of awareness. This also means we're keenly aware of the physical limitations of our body and when we may be nearing the breaking point. Many people who want to help others actually do them more harm than good when they help to feed their mask of self-pity. Sometimes it takes ruthlessness to show others that they can heal themselves, to push them using controlled folly to the point where they take back their own power. Their anger and frustration can sometimes be the first step to finding their own inner resource circle and the path to health. We always want to be compassionate and understanding, but there are times when some people can be helped best by showing them the tools to heal themselves. The needy, wounded child has been led to believe that only another can save them. We may tell them this is not so, only to see them continue to turn to others over the smallest of issues. It's at this point that ruthlessness can be helpful. When they get frustrated and angry at the callousness and ineptitude of others, they may finally see that the answers come from within. Patience without negligence sits in the East, and this is a big distinction. Some people say they are being patient when it's really negligence, but they don't want to admit it to themselves. In the light mirror, patience is both active and passive in equal proportions. Negligence is simply passive. This could be because we simply don't know what to do. Patience is the ability to do without doing. It allows us to determine precisely when and how our energy will be spent. It's the power to use waiting to our advantage. The result of this should be good timing. This will test our discipline and commitment. The dark mirror of patience is negligence. Waiting too long under the guise of patience is actually avoiding responsibility. This is observed in those with no discipline. As the band Rush famously said, if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. That choice may have been to avoid responsibility. This dark mirror is seen in people who are convinced that they're right and aren't willing to compromise, or those who are frozen with fear because they don't know what to do, or in people who are just plain lazy. Our disagreements won't simply vanish. We will have to address them. Ignoring important decisions may mean people will suffer and grow angrier over the lack of action as time goes on. This dark mirror can cause many problems. There are many steps to the warrior's walk. I've shared some of the more important ones with you today here. The warrior's walk means understanding the wheels and keys of the native strength path, as well as some of the other concepts I've shared with you in previous episodes. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an easy path on your warrior's walk.
It's in you, it's in me, a gift from all to set us free. Living straight from the stars to our soul, it's worth more